Alright, everybody on YouTube, Facebook, I don't care anymore. Right now, I am in my basement. It's an area that I happen to be renting out for a reason. It's like, me and my family, we put like canned food, water, any spare clothing, tools, right? It's basement, honestly, under the circumstances, is probably the safest place here. Like, if Trump does something really fucking stupid, like actually invade Canada, Greenland, or Mexico at this point, like full-blown invasion with troops, right? Anybody who cooperates with that kind of military draft, like assuming there is one later, which I think there will be, is an idiot. Let me make something very clear with the people of the internet, and then I dare you spread this everywhere, I don't care who you are, right? I do not support Trump. Trump is a traitor to the United States. He is a thug, a liar, a thief, and a bully who has raped and molested women. He is a traitor to his oath of office as president. I am not advocating for violence, alright? I have in fact sent letters, right? Various emails to the president, different local politicians where I'm from, right? Asking people to see reason, even going as far as writing to Trump personally that he should resign from office, right? But with that said, I am not advocating for violence, because I know a lot of people may end up doing that. Possible revolt against a draft, given the obvious unnecessary threats against our former allies as Americans, right? I am not a military professional, right? I have never been part of the Marines, not part of the military. I'm not associated with the Army in any way, except for some distant cousins of mine who I'm very fond of. They were part of the military, but everybody on YouTube, here's the point that I'm getting at. Even I am smart enough to know when a bully, right? Like, you ever heard those stories how the bully on the playground when you're a little kid has pissed off so many of the other kids, maybe even some of the teachers in the worst case, by threatening people, stealing lunch money. The list goes on as to what schoolyard bullies do, but this is the metaphor I'm using. Trump has already alienated us from so many other people. Canada and England, for example, being some of our closest allies in the distant past. If Trump does something unilaterally stupid, like actually order the U.S. Army in any way to go into Canada, a lot of Americans are going to be shot, right? And who knows, maybe if U.S. Army troops are like lucky, maybe what'll happen is they'll freeze to death, or sort of maybe, like near freezing, beg for coffee and like a cot and like a small barn to warm up in, and then hopefully, very much hoping, praying to God that most U.S. troops will not be shot, and instead when first winter shows up in Canada, U.S. troops will probably be laughed at and sent back home, especially since, given what I heard online, the U.S. arsenal, as far as where Patriot missiles, guns, ammunition, even supplies to make new uniforms, for crying out loud, are running extremely thin. Either, I don't know, maybe U.S. Army bases are using what they have as barter, maybe selling stuff off to pay their own shit, I don't know. I mean, the fact is, I've heard plenty of stories where the U.S. arsenal is running out of ammunition. I don't know how, but I know it's happening, because a lot of people are talking about it. Using Israel as a proxy nation against, say, Middle Eastern countries. Now, I'm about to say something that is probably going to get me a lot of backlash, but here it is. Palestine, or whoever was in charge of the attack when they invaded Israel briefly, alright? That's on them. Anybody who picked up a gun against Israel and didn't expect immediate actions of self-defense like any other self-respecting nation, they're idiots, alright? But with that said, I am completely against the unnecessary genocide that has taken place in Palestine shortly afterwards. What's an easy way of saying this? It doesn't immediately get me shot. Here's what I'm saying. It's like, see, Palestine troops or Hamas or whatever it was that attacked Israel, they deserve to be hunted down and shot like any other Nazi war criminal, right? So the same thing happened when Germany lost the war, right? And they were all rounded up and publicly tried for various war crimes in the camps, right? Now, with that said, innocent people like farmers, merchants, bakers are dying in Palestine. That I do not support. Even if the anger from Israelis, from people who lost family, you know what? Yeah, I understand the anger. But from what I've seen online from like war footage coming from that part of the world, Israel has already done as much damage to Palestine that is absolutely necessary in my view. Yeah, I understand, alright? I'm gonna get a lot of backlash from this because I'm not choosing one side or the other. I'm calling people out on both sides of the aisle for their shit, whether they be right-wing or not. Now, back to what I was saying about Trump. President Donald J. Trump, let me make this absolutely clear. If you do something astronomically stupid, completely and utterly stupid, like invading Canada, right? U.S. troops are gonna freeze to death at best. But who knows? Maybe Canadian troops will laugh at them and take pity on them and send them back home to the States, alright? That's a best case scenario. From what I hear, the U.S. arsenal is running out of ammo, running out of oil, because Trump has very much alienated us from pretty much all our former allies, which means stuff is greatly in short supply. President Donald J. Trump, I am pleading with you, please see reason, see a therapist, see a guidance counselor, see a doctor for whatever the heck is going on in your head, please. Donald J. Trump, you are destroying my country. You are destroying us. You are getting us killed in the Middle East. You are starting wars where there were none when you absolutely said you would stop the wars, alright? Trump, you have lied to the American people. You have gotten many of us killed, and so on. Average American families are starving due to food and money shortages, and you keep saying, get a job, get a job. It's like, what jobs are going to be around, especially in industrial towns, like former Rust Belt towns like where I live, where the jobs aren't there anymore. They haven't been there since the 1960s and 70s, and jobs are absolutely not going to come to America due to overtaxation and the fact that there is a possibility that I am honestly terrified that my hometown in America is going to be an absolute war zone because of Trump. Trump, you are getting us killed. Please, I'm trying to be as polite while being as blunt as possible. Please, resign from office. Resign from office and seek mental help. You, Donald Trump, are getting us killed, and I don't know how to say it any other way. I'm sorry. Or you know what? No, I'm not sorry. Because Trump, many people have protested in the street peacefully. We, the people of America, have sent you letters. We have protested you online without threatening, without throwing things. And Trump, I don't know how to tell you this any other way other than you truly are a bad president. Or if you can even be called a president, then you're a president that needs to resign from office peacefully before you get more Americans killed in an unnecessary war against our former allies, such as Canada, Greenland, Mexico, and so on, which is our closest neighbors, even if they do completely hate our guts at this point. You see this tooth I've lost? You see that? Trump, that's from you and your overtaxation and me not being able to afford a real doctor or a real dentist most of the time. I am trying to be completely reasonable here, without threatening, without yelling, but while being completely blunt about current America's situation. A lot of us are living off of bread, rice, what else? The occasional overpriced meat we can afford, such as nearly expired steak and fish. Like pepper, honestly, like ground pepper where I'm from, is honestly starting to become a luxury because of you. And I'm starting to feel like I'm, well, how do I put this? I'm starting to feel like a colonial farmer. Let's use that as an example, where Americans before the revolution started were forced to pay overtaxation without representation, and were constantly threatened by British troops when they spoke out loud, which is exactly what led to the signing of the Declaration of Independence during 1776 and the revolution that followed shortly after. Please, Trump, I am literally begging you here, resign from office before you get us all killed. I'm sorry. I mean, I wish there was a nicer way to say this, but President Donald J. Trump, you are getting us killed, and I don't know how else to reason with you other than saying it to your face here on YouTube. God bless us all. Or what's left of the American soul at this point. I'm sorry.